First, I want to thank you guys for being here. I think everybody knows how important this position is to the future of the Canton Fire Department and how critical it is to find the right candidate. The Fire Prevention Division has been somewhat lacking a little bit because of the amount of responsibility that division has. And with the Deputy Chief having multiple responsibilities, not only in suppression, administration, and suppression, and wearing multiple hats, it's often difficult for him to supervise and oversee everything that needs to be supervised and overseen within the entire department. So going back in time a little bit, we looked at, when we did our strategic planning process, we looked at what do we need to implement in the Canton Fire Department. We went to the shifts, we went to you guys, we asked, and we put together a plan. And in that plan was the development and implementation of a fire marshal position to manage that division and make sure that the needs of the community and the needs of the department were being met. So this is the next step in that process. The board approved the position, and so now we've negotiated, the township negotiating team has negotiated with the union about the position and got a letter of agreement established to allow for the position to be filled within the bargaining unit. And so this is the next step in the process. So I assume you're all here because you want to be here. You've submitted your resume on time and your cover letter. And in that process, you got the job description. Are there any questions about the job description before we move forward? Concerns? All right. So when we had discussion with the union, we decided that we wanted it to be a competitive process because it is a leadership and management role, and we wanted to ensure that we have the right person in the right seat of the bus to make sure that division is moving forward. And so we had early on discussion, the Deputy Chief and I, along with Human Resources, to try and establish what we felt was going to be a good competitive process and to allow us to be able to determine the best possible person for the position. And we decided to do it in a assessment type, atmosphere assessment type center process. So today is to give you guys an opportunity to understand what the next steps of the process are, ask any questions and get any fears or questions that you may have answered today. So moving to the written assignment. They all got schedules, so you've all been scheduled for a date and time in which to come take the written exam. The written exam is going to be an essay-style written exam. You're going to be given a series of questions, written questions, and you're going to be asked to respond to those questions in writing. You're going to type your answers up on a computer in Human Resources here. So the day that you show up for your exam, we ask, you're not allowed to bring a cell phone in, so leave your cell phone in the station or in your car. We ask that you don't bring a cell phone or any other electronic devices into the exam. That would give you an unfair advantage over somebody else. Everything you need for the technical questions will be provided to you the day of the exam. You'll have code books, and any question that's going to be asked that's going to require you to do research will be in the books that you're given that day. You'll be asked to type your answers on Microsoft Word 10. The directions on font and everything else will be included in the exam. And so if you have any questions or concerns about the use of that software, I would recommend that you seek that out prior to the exam. The day that you come for the exam, you'll be given the questions in writing. Human Resources will be here to assist. There will be a thumb drive in the computer to save your answers in the event of a power failure, a computer issue, or the like. Once you complete your exam, you will come out with the exam you were given, your printed answers, and the thumb drive, and you'll give that to a representative at Human Resources, likely Barb. Barb will verify that all components are there. You'll seal the envelope and sign it in her presence. And the exams will stay here in Human Resources until they're all complete, at which time they'll be scored by Fire Administration and Human Resources. Any questions on the written exam portion of the process? Like I said, you'll have 3 hours to complete it. If you get it done in 2, that's entirely up to you, but you have a max of 3 hours from the time you start the exam to the time you complete. Yes.
Just for myself and Adam, we're working the day that we're scheduled for. Is it something that our command is already aware of?
Yep, your command will be made aware of your time slot, and you will be afforded the opportunity to come over uninterrupted. So you won't need to bring a radio, you won't need to, it's like you're being off, if you will. So you're not going to be required to respond on runs or answer calls or do anything while you're here taking the exam. Any other questions on the written exam? If you guys have questions after today, I ask that you, as it said in the posting, I ask that you submit those questions via email to me, and I will reply back to all candidates with the answer to the question within 2 days. So if you have any questions after today, if you get home or you get back to the station and you think of something that maybe you have a question on, don't hesitate to ask. Okay?
When you say essay style answer from the code book, so you're not looking for the actual code wording, you're looking for us to write in an essay?
The questions will be very specific, and so it's looking for a very specific answer. So if the question relates to the actual language in the code, then that's what we're looking for. I'll tell you right now, there's 4 parts to the exam. There's parts dealing with you as a candidate, there's parts dealing with the department, and then there's parts dealing with the code, or with technical, I shouldn't say code, but with technical type questions that would be in line with what the fire marshal's responsibility would be. And like I said, the questions are I think are very detailed and specific in what we're looking for.
Can I interject?
Sure.
So it'll be clear from the way the question is being asked what the intended response is, whether it's an essay, whether it's a technical question or whatever. It'll be clear to you how to respond.
Keep in mind that it says it right in the instructions on the exam, that any resource material that's used for your answers has to be cited at the end of your answer. So in other words, if you use some form of resource to get your answer, whether it's a code book or whatever that may be in the room, you are required to cite where that answer came from at the end of your answer. Any other questions on the written exam? All right. The next step in the process is you've been scheduled for an oral board examination. So part of that, the oral board is a 2-part process. The first step in that oral board is you're going to go before, the oral board will consist of 1 representative from the fire department, 1 representative from human resources, and 3 outside fire service professionals from Southeast Michigan area. The first part of that is you will go before that oral board and you're being asked to give a max of 10 minutes if there is no going over. So you need to be prepared to get as much information as you can on your topic in 10 minutes. At 10 minutes you'll be cut off whether you're done or not, just so everybody's aware. So you'll be asked.
On that, if we end up short of 10 minutes, is that a problem?
If you end up short, and you're able to get all your information in 8 minutes, that's fine.
Okay.
That's up to you guys. But what we'll be looking for is that your presentation includes a current to today's fire service, relevant to today's fire service, fire inspection or prevention related topic. I'm not looking for somebody to give a book report on the Great Chicago Fire. What we're looking for is for you to give a presentation on a current and relevant issue facing today's fire service as it relates to inspection and prevention. There will be no PowerPoint. There will be no computer for you to do a PowerPoint. You are more than welcome to bring a handout if that's what you choose, but there will be no visual aids, if you will, a PowerPoint or anything like that. So it's more of an oral presentation. You providing information on a topic that you have chosen to that panel. That particular portion of that oral board is worth 25 points, and you'll be scored on, your knowledge of the topic, your appearance, relevance of the topic, and your preparation and overall presentation. Any questions on that portion of the oral board? The next portion will consist of a typical oral board interview. The panel will be given a series of questions that will be determined prior to the oral board taking place, and they'll ask you those series of questions, and they're looking for your answers and your responses. And that particular portion is worth 40 points. Any questions on the oral board itself?
Can we bring handouts for the panel as well? Or would they have our resume in front of them to read the handout?
The panel will be given your resume
And cover letter.
in cover letter prior to you coming in the room. So they'll already have that in front of them. We're going to take care of copies of, unless you have changes from when if you've completed a class or you have an update from when you submitted it at the beginning of the exam, the panel will be given what you submitted with your letter of interest for the position. All right. Any other questions on the oral board? Question? No, good. All right. And then finally, if I didn't say it, the written exam is also worth 25 points. So that brings us to a total of 90 points. The next 10 points will be given for service credit, and that's part of the letter agreement with the firefighters union, and it's 0.5 points for every year of service with the Canton Fire Department to a maximum of 10 points. Any questions on that? All right. With that, I'll open it up to any questions you may have about the process.
Will the whole process be videoed?
No.
No, okay, good.
No, this is, like I said, this is just solely so that it takes away any impropriety. That way that the candidates that, applicants that were unable to be here are going to get the exact same information that you guys got today. And there's no question about they didn't get this or you guys got that. So we're just trying to be as fair as we possibly can about the process and as transparent as we can be.
Is there an estimated time when the position will be filled after this process is completed?
It's an immediate vacancy, so we will fill it as quickly as we can score, working with Human Resources and their timeline, as quickly as we can score the exams, score the oral boards. We should know with any,
Hopefully.
pending no
It was 24 to 48 hours
pending no
after the oral.
disasters, we should have an eligibility list established within 24 to 48 hours of the oral boards being completed. At that point, there's no secrets. We're going to offer the position to whoever scores the highest in the assessment center. That's not we get to pick out of the top three. It goes to the highest scoring candidate. That highest scoring candidate will be offered the position, and then depending on schedules and such, that the vacancy will be filled as immediately as we can.
How will we be notified? Email with the scorers, or will we just be told?
Well, since there's only 4 of you and this is a management position, I like to talk to you, whether it comes from HR or more likely fire admin, but we'll follow up with something in writing, but I think that this position deserves the respect of a conversation
Yes.
with each of you.
That's one thing I left out, and I apologize. We will schedule post-assessment meetings with everybody individually that went through the assessment. If you want it, we'll schedule that with you to give you the time to understand how you did, where you can improve, and those sort of things, or ask any questions that you may have about the process, so that everybody has an opportunity to learn. Most importantly, I think it's important that regardless of where you end up on this placement list, that you take this as a learning opportunity and you learn about your strengths and weaknesses and where you can improve and where you can maybe, if you are the #1 candidate, where your weaknesses are, so that you can work on those as you transition into that new position. If you're unfortunate not to get the position, where can you improve for the next position that may open itself up? And what can you do better for the next process? So,
For the service credit for years, is it full years or is it prorated? If you have 6 years and 10 months, do you get 0.2, or is it a full 0.5 for?
we never really addressed that with the union. I would
And if you're shy by 3 days, is it the full year, or do you get?
The way this is written, 5 points for every year of service.
Yeah,
Knocks
it's,
that out, but I mean, you're
Oh,
gonna.
0.5.
yeah, it's 0.5
0.5
points for every year of service, but we
Gotcha.
never really discussed that with the union, how they would. I'll have some discussion with HR afterwards, and we'll get you guys an answer in writing as to how we'll score or rate partial years of service. So I'll get you an answer.
Can I just interject?
Sure.
I don't know if this happened before I got here, but, so the written exam will be in that office next to Barb's office, if you're familiar with HR. So just come to HR, and you'll be right next to Barb in the event there's any type of computer issue or whatever, but then she's right there whenever you're done. And then the oral board will be held in this room.
Will you be able to ask any questions at all during that written test of anybody? So if there's something on there that just doesn't make sense to us in writing, we can't say, can you, okay, just wondering.
We've had several people review it, and it makes sense to all of us, even people that
Don't know
are
anything
related
about
to
it.
the code. So
The
it should make sense to
Yeah,
them.
the exam's not intended to trick anybody. They're really pointed questions looking for a very specific answer. If you've been paying attention over the last year, you should really have no issues on the exam whatsoever. What else you guys got? Nothing? All right.
You, just let me mention that you'll know your results of the written exam after the interview. So not immediately after the interview, but it's not, we're not gonna, let's just let you focus on each section at a time, and we'll give you the whole score.
Yeah. This is not a, that's a good point, Gwen, thanks for bringing that up. This is not a pass-fail, so if you happen to not score extremely well on a written exam, you can make that up on your presentation or your oral board. This is not, oh, you know, they got a 70% on a written exam, we're washing them out of the process. It's a cumulative score overall. And so after everything's said and done, we'll add all those components up together, and that will get the final score, and that's how we'll determine placement on the eligibility list.
And did I hear you right about when we're doing the written exam, that are we gonna be tested on how we write this out? Is that part of the written exam?
We are, yes, we will be, there, and it says right on the exam, I don't remember how many points exactly it is, but there is a certain amount of points that we're looking for grammar, spelling, because you are typing this in a Word document that's able to help you with those things, if you will. So we are looking for spelling, grammar, and we're looking for overall appearance of your answers. We expect professionalism within the organization, and we certainly are going to expect that out of our fire marshal. So part of the responsibility of a fire marshal is being able to put documents together. Those documents could end up going to the township board. They could end up going to the public. And so we're looking for that throughout the testing process as well.
The questions, will they be on the computer, or are they gonna be on paper and then?
It is going to be written on a piece of paper, and you will have to type your answers into a document.
Gotcha.
How you choose to format that document, how you choose to type that document is entirely up to you as an individual. We're allowing you guys the latitude to do that. Again, keeping in mind that we're looking for the end result to be a professional appearing document. Anything else? All right, if they have nothing else, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your interest in the position, and if you do have any further questions, please email those to me, and we'll get you an answer. Again, I will forward the answer to all parties that have put in an application. We'll get that to you as quickly as we can, but within 2 business days for sure.
Has everyone received, you all know when your written exam is, and you all know when your oral board is?
Received it this morning, so I have not applied it yet.
Okay, that's fine, as long as you got it. I don't want to make sure that everybody has it.
And if it's probably important to note, if there's some sort of emergency comes up that's going to prohibit you from being at your exam, it's important that you notify HR and fire administration of that immediately, because there are no makeup exams. So if we don't hear from you and you don't show up at your allotted time slot, we are going to take that as you are no longer interested in the position. So that's important that everybody knows that, there is no makeup exam. All right, thank you.
Thanks.